Yeah.
Hello, everybody. It is We Talking About Sports. We're back on another Wednesday evening to talk about some more NFL divisional breakdowns. Everybody, how are you guys doing? Ben, Ron?
Doing good. Roland, tell the people the truth. We're here to talk about the Bills tonight. That's what we're here to do tonight.
I'm good, bro. We crispy. We extra crispy on this Wednesday.
We might spend some time on the Bills. I see Ben's already sporting his gear, his Bills cap, his Josh Allen jersey.
Fake Bills Mafia.
Do you got another?
There we go.
Do you got another Bills jersey in the tuck? You think about getting that Von Miller, maybe a Stephon Diggs?
The red Diggs is coming. The red Diggs is coming.
Pause.
Pause. Yeah, big pause.
No, that all red jersey, they look clean as hell, especially with the way the stripes look on the shoulders. You're on mute, Roland. There it is.
How long have I been on mute?
For a while, bro. For a while.
Not for a while.
I was gonna say I thought I did the introduction and everything, but what I was gonna say is they were even sporting those red jerseys. Not the red jerseys, the red helmets. You saw Josh Allen come out with that before I think it was like a practice or something like that. But we are gonna talk about the AFC East. We are gonna talk about Josh Allen and the Bills and a lot of other quarterbacks in this division. There's a lot of interesting quarterbacks, a lot of interesting teams this year, a lot of movement in this division in terms of players signing and trades and whatnot, and some players looking to take the next step. This division has Josh Allen. He is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. We're not going to talk about it this podcast, but we are going to drop our top 10 quarterback list probably sometime tomorrow. We're excited to do that. I don't know if we're going to go live, but we will have that out for you guys. But just to give everybody a preview, Ben, you got Josh Allen number 1. Now you're on mute.
No, man. Now he got out.
Como ando? Damn it! I played myself, but I was gonna say.
Bro,
hey, rough start.
I'm tripping, or are y'all tripping, bro?
This is like that 0-1 start last year against the Steelers, that Week 1 L. Shout out Diego in the comments section. Shout out Izzy. Everybody in the comments. But yeah, man, last year I had Josh Allen as my number 1 QB, so it should be no surprise he's coming back as my number 1 QB this year. Hopefully it's unanimous. Hopefully y'all give in and you let your pride down, and we all just agree on this as a podcast.
Well, we'll see. I don't know if I have him number 1, but he's probably 2. If he's not 1, I wouldn't have him much further down the list. It's definitely a true changing of the guard, because I've had Brady up towards the top of my list the past couple of years, and I think now is finally the time to move him down a few notches as some of these younger guys take over. But we'll get into that tomorrow. Other things around the league. Did you guys see what happened with Aqib Talib and his brother at a football game? They ended up getting in a fight that resulted in somebody losing their life at the hands of Aqib Talib's brother. Now they're saying Aqib Talib started the fight. What are y'all's thoughts on this? Is it going to get bad for Aqib Talib, or is he just wrong place, wrong time?
At a little league football game, man, not a good look at all. I mean, what if that bullet misses, bro, and hits a kid? That's wild to shoot at somebody at a little league football game, in my opinion. So probably big repercussions coming down on whichever one of the Talib brothers was involved. But you hate to see it. That coach lost his life. R.I.P. to him. Coach Mike, I believe was his name. They called him. So R.I.P. Coach Mike.
Definitely not. I'm not trying to make light of the situation, but he was signed on to be the Amazon Prime broadcaster, I think, for their Thursday night games, or they got some deal with the NFL this year where they're going to have a broadcast on Prime, and he was going to be one of the guys. Probably not going to be doing that, but yeah, like Ben said, rest in peace to the gentleman who lost his life. Just a wild situation. But anyways, without further ado, let's get into the AFC East. like always, we start at the top. We pay a little bit of homage to the team that took care of business the year before, and the Bills. They came back. They had a rough start. They lost that Week 1 game against the Pittsburgh Steelers, but they ended up, coming through and winning the division at 11-6. That's back to back for the Bills. I believe they won it the year before last. They won it last year. So for the first time in a while, somebody other than the Patriots go back to back. They were 5-1 against the division. They lost in the divisional round against the Chiefs, and probably one of the greatest games ever, at least in the modern day history of football, at least for my eyes. I mean, that was an amazing game. Just score after score, last moments of the game. Gabe Davis became possibly a household name or a name to look out for this coming year. You can tell Ben's probably talk about him a little bit during fantasy football talk, but he had a monster game, still came down to the wire. They ended up losing to the Chiefs, second year in a row. They've lost to the Chiefs in the playoffs. Not such a bad thing. The Chiefs are the class of the division. 6 games this past year decided by a score or less. That's 8 points. 0-6 in those games. Ben, before we move any further, that's got to change.
Choke artist, bro. Choke artist. No. You got to think positive regression, right? Usually those one possession games the following year, they're supposed to fall the other way for you. I mean, some of those were ugly, ugly games.
9-6 to the Jaguars.
I mean, come on, fam. Didn't score a touchdown the whole game against an Urban Meyer. They were the first win in Urban Meyer's NFL head coaching career. I mean,
the only people that won from that game was Vegas. That's for
facts. That week they cleaned up on the teasers and the parlays. No, but yeah, you got to think that that's going to change. And I mean, look, everybody's kind of talking about it, right? They're pretty much everybody's consensus won in the preseason NFL power ranking. So looking forward to, the hype behind it and hopefully living up to it. It's this season, the vibes after that, AFC second round showdown with the Chiefs is Super Bowl or bust now. After going toe-to-toe with the Chiefs like that, them losing Tyreek Hill, and the Bills for the most part keeping everybody except losing some coaches. This season it's Super Bowl or bust.
Yeah, and Vegas agrees. Looking at these odds that we have up here on the screen for those of you guys that are here with us live, the Bills, they are the odds-on favorite to win the Super Bowl plus 600. They are the odds-on favorite to win the AFC Championship at plus 275. Last year, that was like plus 1,200 and plus 500 to win Super Bowl and AFC Championship. So Vegas favors them a lot more. Their season totals at 11.5. I think that's about where it was last year. To win the AFC East, they're favored, heavy favorites, minus 235. Josh Allen, one of the favorites to win MVP, plus 700. And don't even want to talk about them to make the playoffs, minus 650. Yes, no, plus 450. Like Ben said, they kept a lot of guys, not too much movement for these guys. They lost backup quarterback Mr. Trubisky, Emmanuel Sanders, Cole Beasley, but they replaced them with some of these names up here, like Jamison Crowder, sneaky little signing. Duke Johnson, a name to look out for maybe. Ben, are you looking at any of these names up here as contributors, like Von Miller for the upcoming season?
Yeah, for sure. Von Miller, the punter, Matt Araiza, also was in the headlines for the 82. Hey, I mean, he made top 10 with an 82-yard punt, in the preseason.
Damn it.
That's Pat McAfee was, out of his seat. Definitely, Pat McAfee got hard after watching that play.
Do you like the James Cook?
I do. You gotta like the lineage, right? Dalvin Cook's younger brother, Georgia running back. We've seen what Georgia running backs come to be in the NFL. They are kind of those, bell cow 3-down backs. He is going to be more of a receiving back to start off the season. But if, one of the guys like Singletary or Zach Moss, who have been around the last 2 years, and neither guy really has solidified themselves. I know Singletary had a little run last year, towards the playoffs. He was a decent flex option for some people down the stretch, but it's there for the taking for James Cook. He is going to get like those third down looks the way, like I'm telling you, and good receiving back. So you gotta like what you see. It's just how fast is the game going to come the speed of the NFL going to come to him. So looking forward to see how that plays out throughout the season for sure.
And Ron, I want to swing this to you because I remember us talking about this team last year, and you were already questioning, whether this team was going to be able to sustain what they were doing because they're not going to be able to get back past the Chiefs. We come back here again a year later. They lost to the Chiefs again in the playoffs. What are your thoughts on the Bills for 2022? Are you thinking they're going to clear that 11.5? Are you looking at them to dominate the NFL this year?
Possibly. All right. As far as the wins, I'm more than likely they're going to get the wins. But I don't know, man. Call me crazy.
Crazy. You're crazy.
But there was another guy in Buffalo that was there for a long time and couldn't get past a certain team that I'm wearing on my hat right here. All right. So are we seeing that happen again to the Bills? Are they going to be Jim Kelly? Is Josh Allen Jim Kelly 2.0? And I honestly think that that's the case with them because there's going to be too many contenders in the AFC, bro. I mean, he can't get past the Chiefs one. And look,
the Chiefs aren't even making the playoffs according to you. So fuck it.
No, I'm saying he hasn't gotten past them. And then, by the way, here's Joe Burrow in the AFC who wants to stake his claim. And I have more confidence in the Bengals as a team and what they did last year and where they're going and what they can do. Their ceiling is high. So now Josh Allen said, okay, I couldn't beat the Chiefs, and now I have to face the Bengals as well. So I just think that
Ron, you're hitching yourself
competition there.
You like the Bengals a lot this year. So you're willing to take the Bengals over the Bills? If you're doing like a power rating, you would have the
This
Browns.
guy's drunk already.
Yeah.
This guy's drunk already.
It's just facts. It's just facts. I mean, the Bills can't hold down a solid running back besides Stephon Diggs. They don't really have that other big name, and there's just issues there. And why were they 0-6 in those 8 games that they only lost by 1?
Well, I mean, you saw why they lost to the Chiefs, dog. It wasn't because of Josh Allen.
Yeah, but that's just one. I mean,
they were a little bit one-dimensional last year. Like you said, a little bit. They weren't able to establish a run game in some of those losses. You look at the Jaguars game, they only had like 70 yards rushing. Against the Titans, they lost. They only had 80 yards rushing. So some of these games, you can't expect Josh Allen to be able just to air it out every single time and, make a play. And, sometimes that leads to Josh Allen to make some mistakes, scrambling out of the pocket, having to deal with a lot of pressure, just not having a run game just adds a little bit more to the load for Josh Allen.
I'm a big Josh Allen guy, and I'm confident in the team. That's why I said I don't mind taking their over, 11.5. But I just don't think that they're going to be that AFC dominant team. I just think they're going to be choking.
Well, speaking of the season total, we'll just talk about the regular season here. I looked at their schedule.
Good thing they play the Bengals, dog. Good thing they play the Bengals because you better have some money.
Hey, I got something
where your fucking mouth is.
I have something coming for you.
All right,
I'm gonna be rocking something nice
where your mouth is. What is
right.
that? We're gonna start the new year, January 2nd, baby. Me and Ron are gonna have a hefty bet on that Monday night football game between the Bills and the Bengals.
Cincinnati.
They could play in your backyard because the Bills are fucking them up.
This is what fucking the Bengals are gonna do to the Bills all day. That LeBron stomp.
And Ben, I trust you're gonna give me your unbiased opinion, but when you look at this schedule, what's your honest assessment looking at it? They're 12th in terms of the strength of schedule when it comes to winning percentage on the year prior. You look at the schedule, it's a little tough in the beginning, but it has a little moment where they can catch their breath and maybe reel out some victories. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, bro. I mean, as far as the schedule, like you mentioned at the beginning, it is tough. I think that they are underdog in just that Chiefs game to start the season. So they are going to be the favorite in most of their matchups. Like I said, there's a lot of hype behind them. A lot of the pros or whoever makes these rankings are behind them. That's a spot that we've usually seen to a Chiefs-led Patrick Mahomes team, number 1 in the power rankings. So it is going to be a tough road at the beginning, but after that Green Bay game, that schedule gets super soft. You see the Jets twice in the second half of the season. You got the Lions twice as well, the Patriots to end the season, the Bears in there. So I think the schedule sets up nicely for them to get on a roll into the playoffs in the second half. We're definitely going to find out a lot to start the year because they got a lot of, playoff teams from last year or teams like the Ravens who are physically just going to test you. We saw what the Patriots did to that Bills defense last year when they ran every damn down except 3 or 4 downs out of the whole game. So that's something that the Ravens, the Titans, those teams that run the ball can really take advantage of. So I think we're going to find out a lot early with the Bills.
I don't want to be too dramatic here because I do think the Bills are a young team. I do think that their window is as open as, Josh Allen, as long as he's going to be there, they're always going to have a chance type of a deal. But if they don't get it done this year, the chatter, I think, is going to have to start in terms of, questioning, like what Ron said. Are they going to be that team that can't get over the hump? Do you see some of that, Ben, as a Bills fan? Do you see some of that potentially seeping in?
I don't I mean, it'd be a total failure, like I said, if they don't get to the Super Bowl because it's Super Bowl or bust, obviously winning it, but not even getting there. But even at that, bro, I mean, they just signed Allen to that new deal. The coach, he's not going anywhere. What are they going to do? Fire him with what they've built? At least, Buffalo was kind of in the back seat to the Patriots and whoever else wanted to take turns. The Mark Sanchez-led Jets, whoever it may be, you know what I mean? The Bills were never that team that was in the playoffs. Now they're consistently the favorite to win this division for the second year in a row, and a pretty hefty favorite. They've got the front runner for MVP. It would be a big overreaction seeing them make some sort of change.
All right. And, but before we wrap this up and move to the fantasy talk here with the Bills, because they are going to be one of the most talked about fantasy teams this year. What are your plays? I'm sure you have a play or two on the Bills, being a Bills fan and how good they are. What are you going for here?
Yeah, so I haven't played the over on the win season total just because the number, I don't have that number available to me exactly anymore. But I did play them to be the highest scoring offense in the NFL at plus like 650, 700. And then I got down. I got down on Josh Allen to win MVP at plus 700. I know I was telling you all, in the group chat when I did put the play in that I think that he's just being hyped up. It's kind of like those years where you knew that the NBA wanted to give Steph Curry those MVP trophies.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I don't want to say it because they're gonna be like,
that's what it is. No,
that's exactly what it is, bro.
That's what it's gonna be. They've given it to Rodgers back-to-back years. Brady's kind of on the back burner. Mahomes lost a weapon. Joe Burrow, Herbert, Lamar, Josh Allen. I think that they're like salivating.
They're front runners right away.
Yeah, right away. So I think that if the Bills just have, one of the top records in the NFL, if they can get that bye week in the AFC, I think that the MVP is for sure, Josh Allen's, unless we see something crazy from one of these other QBs.
And not just that, but you can see it in his game physically and the way that he performs. So besides the fact that you're saying it's getting teed up to him, the guy can just straight out ball too.
Yeah, he gets highlight reel plays.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not like they're setting him up to a player who potentially can't get it. I mean, this guy could get it, and especially he himself personally might feel, hey, the chatter's gonna come if I don't do this. So I mean, it could be a show-out year, so why not? What were the odds when you took it? Are they still the same?
Yeah, 700. Yeah, they opened up at 900 and it went down to 700 from what I remember.
Yeah, I just think he's gonna be that not maybe Dan Marino's an overreaction, but that just badass QB that just never gets there unless he goes to another team, maybe.
So, what are your thoughts looking at the board, Ron? Do you got anything for the Bills, or are you just ready to talk some fantasy?
Josh Allen. Josh Allen's probably
Josh
the only
Allen?
thing that I would take here. Yeah, just because everything else is juiced, and I don't believe in them.
There's no value in anything else,
Yeah.
bro. Like it's rowdy. Like what the expectations for this team.
And I don't really believe them to win the NFC Championship or to even maybe get there. And then so the Super Bowl Menos.
Yeah, I think there might be a little bit of value of maybe dropping a maybe 2 or 3 unit play on them to win the AFC East. At minus 235, drinking a little bit of juice, lay a little bit to make a little bit, considering, looking at the rest of the division as we'll talk about it later, might not be as strong as other divisions. I have them pegged at around 12 wins, so I'm not going to play the total. But Ben and Ron, they're on Josh Allen to win MVP, and Ben, you're on them to be the highest scoring offense.
Yeah,
right?
We're gonna win it. Ron, MVP, baby.
And speaking, having an MVP candidate, having one of the highest scoring offenses in the NFL,
shit.
That for sure makes them a candidate to be one of the most popular fantasy football teams in the NFL. You see a couple of the guys that they have up here ranked: Josh Allen, James Cook, Stephon Diggs, Dawson Knox, all going to be on people's rosters come draft day, depending if you're one of those guys that's going to take them or not. It's another thing, but they're for sure draftable players. Some decent scenarios here for some of these guys. Ben, are you going to spend the draft capital on Josh Allen? He's going somewhere in like the second round. It's pretty crazy.
QB1, get there.
I mean, come on, cuz. So we're talking about the guy that we just said was going to win MVP. He better be QB1.
He went for 40.
Know, but
he
I'm
went
just
for
saying, that's
his stats last year.
Fantasy-wise, it's tough for me to see that.
Yeah,
like,
so
I have
that's
to take this guy.
His stats last year were
round.
for like 4,700 and 700. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
He was getting it done. He was damn near an automatic 25 points every week. It was like the floor for Josh Allen. He's rolling at the turn? End of the second round, like early third round.
Yeah.
One of those first picks in the third round. Would I spend the draft capital to get a QB there, man? I don't think I would personally. Thank God I'm in a keeper league, and I did draft Allen in a higher round last year, so I'm able to keep him like that, and I think that's how I'm going to get my fix. I don't know if I'm spending that capital on any quarterback.
Because the gap between Josh Allen and number 2 can't be that much for you to spend a second round draft pick even. Like, you can't justify it because he's that much better than everybody else,
Ben said he's already taking Derek Carr. Yeah, we already know. So Ben ain't gonna take Josh Allen.
So
he's got Derek Carr in his pocket.
I probably won't spend on Josh Allen either, although I do think he will be quarterback 1. I think you can pencil him in for like 500, 600 rushing yards, and he's going to get over like 4,000 passing yards. Just a matter of like how many touchdowns he gets. So I definitely think he's going to be QB1.
And
I can't wait till somebody takes him in the first or second round, and I say, reach.
Hey, but he is that guy who's going to give you those couple of weeks with 50 points. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know that you can pencil him in for a couple of weeks at 50 points. So he is one of those quarterbacks that kind of like Lamar in his MVP year that could just win you or put you, get you that 50-point lead to where you don't lose that week. That's just how it goes down sometimes.
And one of his favorite targets, he's pictured up here. He's a guy that I've had in fantasy the past couple of years because he's just a target monster, a catch monster. Stephon Diggs, wide receiver 5, had a little bit of a down year. He's a guy though that if you're going wide receiver early, if you don't have a chance to get a top running back, I like Stephon Diggs. I think he can finish as a wide receiver 1. I think he has that potential this year. I'm in on Stephon Diggs this year. I like him a lot. I think he's going to get over 100, 120 targets. I mean, just whether or not how many times him and Josh Allen connect, and you got to think it's going to be for a good amount.
Where does he like wide receiver 5? Where's that? What round is that more or less?
It's like on the turn in the second round.
Yeah, on the turn, going from the end of the first to the second. Yeah.
Damn,
so
really?
Cup, Chase, Jefferson, and then it's Diggs, Adams. Yeah.
So okay, real quick. I'm in a keeper, and I have Cooper Kupp 4th round, and I'm 12th pick though. So this is somebody who I could target coming back. Because I say at the end of the first round, I get a running back, and then it's back to me. This is somebody who I can target, you would say?
Not in a keeper league. I don't think so. I think in a keeper league, those guys it's like move it up around because you're already getting those 12 players off the board, which would technically be like 12 picks. You get me? So you got to think he moves up to first round for sure in that type of style.
Oh, I see. Okay. So then if he's there at my first pick in the first round.
Yeah, I think
12,
that'd be a good pick at 12 in a keeper league for sure.
if he's
I
still-
think, though, like, honestly, with the year that they're expecting Josh Allen to have, isn't any, Bills receiver going to be a good option? You saw Emmanuel Sanders have some spots last year. You saw Dawson Knox.
Gabe
I don't want
Davis.
to. I don't want to mention and talk these guys up too high, Ron, because you're gonna find out about them by week 5, and you'll catch on. You know what I mean? But yeah, like Roland said, Gabe Davis, bro, he had 3-4 touchdowns in that game against the Chiefs in the playoffs. So he's a big threat. He's taking over for Emmanuel Sanders. He sat behind Emmanuel Sanders last year, the year prior. Cole Beasley as well. So
yeah, true.
Gabe Davis is a guy who's definitely going to be a good wide receiver number 2. I know you're a fan of the wide receiver 2s. Gabe Davis late.
That's going on the posted here because
and then like for 12 and 14 man leagues, I even think as a flex option, Isaiah McKenzie might be a guy who gets you about 90 catches, high 80s in catches this season in the slot. He's the one taking over for Cole Beasley. So he's been getting a lot of looks. Jamison Crowder got signed to the Bills, and honestly, it's not even looking like he might make the team, bro. Really? Isaiah McKenzie won out the slot wide receiver role for sure. Like Jamison Crowder has zero chance of being the starter in the slot for the Bills with the way that camp has played out.
Cowboys are going to pick his ass up.
Somebody will. Jamison Crowder, when healthy, is good, but this young kid, they paid him. He's a special teams guy and a wide receiver, so he's going to be the starter.
And, Ben, one of these guys that's up here, I was a little surprised, I'm not going to lie, to see with a ranking in the top 50. And I know there's a lot of hype because of his name and what he did in college and a brief time that he was there. James Cook at running back 40 with a crowded backfield. I know they spent the draft capital on him, and they probably want him to be the guy at some point. But are you spending on James Cook in the middle rounds? Are you trying to get a share of him?
I'm not, dude. Like I said, I think he's going to be the third down guy. He'll be brought on slowly. I think anybody who drafts him is going to have to be patient with him. Those rookie running backs. Yeah, that's why I'm saying I wouldn't draft him. I would just wait and try and pick him up undrafted, or after somebody drops him after a couple of weeks of 0 to 3 points. So I think that he's a guy that after the bye week or in the second half of the season, they might try and start getting him rolling for the playoffs because he's a young guy, explosiveness. Like we said, Dalvin Cook's little brother. We know what Dalvin Cook is, Georgia running back. So he has all the credentials. He just now needs to put it in play in the NFL.
All right. Well, I definitely like Stephon Diggs this year. I know Ben's talked a lot about Gabe Davis, McKenzie.
I like Gabe Davis.
Josh Allen, Dawson Knox.
I'm getting Gabe Davis. I'm choosing him. Yeah.
I like Gabe Davis this year.
In our draft, when it's my turn, you guys already know. If he's on the board, he's mine.
And Ron's going to snipe Gabe Davis off of Ben. So there you go. That was the Bills. They're an exciting team to talk about. They're definitely going to be a team that we're watching. And, I mean, they're the first game of the season. They're playing against the Rams opening night on Thursday Night Football. I'm sure we'll do something on the podcast for that.
What do y'all expect from the Bills? Do you all expect to see them in the AFC title game, Super Bowl? Let's get y'all on the record here.
Let's do it.
Like I said,
write it down. Take a picture.
I have them at 12 wins this year. Like Ron said, the AFC is stacked, but it does seem like, they're the odds-on favorite to win the title at plus 275. If they stay healthy, they take another step forward. Yeah, I got the Bills coming out of the AFC. If I were to put money on somebody, I don't know if I would at their odds, but I'll go with the Bills.
Nah,
all right, Roland, I'm glad we'll be on the same wave.
Jim, doesn't it sound Jim and Josh, same guy, huh? Big quarterback, Buffalo, huh? Are we just? Life
Well,
repeats itself in mysterious ways.
you
All right,
will
so
soon
no,
learn,
no,
Ron.
they're not. They're not coming out of the AFC for sure. I give their ceiling to me is getting to the AFC Championship, and that's it.
Well, that's still pretty
Saying
far.
it here.
So
Saying it here.
that doesn't mean you're off of them. That just means you don't think they're gonna to represent the
I mean,
AFC. That's fine.
They're gonna win their division for sure, and either lose in maybe the second round of the playoffs, something like that.
Okay. All right. Well, in order for them to win the division, they have to get through this team. It's a team that they had some good success against last year. They beat them 2 out of 3 times. That is the New England Patriots, led by this man right here, Mac Jones. They went 10-7 in 2021 or 2020, whatever year that was, but they were 10-7. Second place in the division. They were better away, 6-2 on the road. Split against the division at 3-3. They got throttled by the Bills by 30 points in the first round, 47-17. Not good.
Throttled. Love that, Roland.
6 games decided by 1 score. 2-4 in those games, not so good, but they were a competitive team last year. They were in a lot of close games, as you saw by that last slide. Vegas does not have too high hopes for them. I was looking at their odds from last year. A lot of these are doubled up. So like they were plus 2,500 to win the Super Bowl last year, plus 1,000 in the AFC Championship. So a lot higher hopes for them last year. A lot of change for this team. Over unders at 8.5, favored to the under at -120. I have these 2 stats up here. To win the AFC East, it's plus 500. For them to finish last in the division, though, it's plus 400. So that just tells you where Vegas is at with this team. To make the playoffs, a plus 160, yes. No, minus 200. And then their closest MVP odds is Mac Jones, Ben's boy, to win MVP at plus 6,000.
Hey, Roland, you're muted, but damn, that hurt me. Mac Jones, last year in that rookie race, definitely let me down.
Hey, I called, man. I was a big Mac Jones guy. Y'all, I mean, it's on record. There's receipts. But they're gonna do well because it's a system way.
Yeah,
All right.
wow.
Well, we'll see. We'll see here. You look at their schedule. They start off against the Dolphins, then the Lions, and I guess a little tough for them here in the middle, early bye week. We'll talk about that later. Look at what happened in the offseason for this team. They drafted offensive line. They got a receiver. They brought in Devontae Parker, the Ron Devontae. We got Devontae Adams with the Raiders. They got Devontae Parker, Jabril Peppers, Ty Montgomery.
Those aren't bad players, right? Those are solid dudes.
Nah, I don't know. I don't. Again, like I said, I don't have too high hopes for this team. I think I'm favoring Vegas. You look at their receiving core. I mean, they also lost N'Keal Harry. Jacoby Myers is their wide receiver 1. You got Hunter Henry. They don't really have too much on their side. Yeah, they lost James White to retirement. You see Shaq Mason, Brandon Bolden. A lot of change for this team. I'm just going to be the first one to say I'm all off of the Patriots this year. I'll take the under on the 8.5. I don't know. I think there's a little bit of a shot. I think it might be worth taking them to finish last. If you think the Bills are going to take a little bit of a step up this year. I'm off of the Patriots this year.
Yeah.
That Kyle Van Noy is a big league too.
Bro, I mean, Bill Belichick has Matt Patricia over there calling the offense. So, I mean, if we were Mac Jones fans, with Matt Patricia calling the offense, Matt Patricia, wasn't he a defensive coordinator, bro? What is he now doing as the offensive play caller? I mean, this is worse than Bill O'Brien being Alabama's OC.
And they got Joe Judge.
Worse than that.
Well, we saw what
a quarterback coach.
The damn reject squad is over there in New England. I think they're going to look like rejects this year. I got them taking a step down as well. To miss the playoffs got pretty steep, but with the way that their schedule's set up, man, they got some pretty tough games on the schedule, and especially at the back end of the season, it really gets rough for them. So I don't think that they're going to put up a lot of points this year. Yes, they got Devontae Parker. We'll see how long he stays healthy for, but They're already talking about trading Harris as well, the running back, and going with DeAndre or DeMondre Stevenson. So I don't like the direction that the Patriots are going in. I don't like their offensive play caller. I don't have them scoring a bunch of points this year. And I agree. I like the under 8.5 on them.
Yeah, I mean, we saw what Patricia was doing when he went to Detroit. I mean, nothing happened over there. Dude got fired. So again, Ben, like you said, there's no sense of we have playmakers and we're gonna do well. Everybody kind of knows within the team that they're gonna be mediocre and they have a good system, but the talent just isn't there. So I'm definitely off them too. I'm not really high on this team, and I don't think I touch anybody fantasy wise even, because we know that Bill Belichick is more of a system guy, run the ball, situational football. Doesn't really have big. I mean, they have big play capability, but those aren't plays that he's looking at his play sheet and trying to call. You know, a little bit more conservative of a coach. Likes to play the field advantage with the punts. So I'm off everybody on fantasy, and I'm off of the Patriots this year.
Yeah, not a very exciting team. And to be honest, the only looks in fantasy, I mean, possibly a running back if somebody separates themselves, from the pack, but also the tight ends. They've got the old Titans tight
Hunter
end
Henry and Jonnu Smith.
And Jonnu Smith, Smith, Hunter Henry. They're kind of trying to bring back, like we said, that Gronk and Aaron Hernandez. R.I.P. to him as well. Scheme. We'll see what it works. I mean, we'll see if it works. But those are pretty good targets. Down the middle, bigger targets for Mac Jones.
Sure.
So,
what's their schedule look like?
It was on the previous slide, I believe.
Oh,
but
yeah.
It's not good at all. You start off the season right away, division game against the Miami Dolphins. Week 2, we know we got that over on the Lions, and if we're gonna hit it,
hey, that's a week 2 win for the Steelers.
We need this game. Facts. That's gonna be a big one for the pod right there. That week 2 game against the Lions. They'll probably be favored.
It's at Pittsburgh too.
No,
we
it's
need
in
to go to
Detroit.
that game.
Yeah, and then obviously the Colts, who are the favorites for their division. Then they got the Bills. The Steelers is going to be a tough one, and we'll see what the Browns do. But down the stretch of the season, bro, Ravens, Raiders, Bills, Packers, Vikings, Bengals. I mean, it's not easy.
It's a tough stretch. Tough stretch, man. I mean, this is how I kind of look at my season totals. I try and do like a range of outcomes, like what's best case, what's worst case. My best case scenario, like if I'm being like even, giving them their home victories and stuff like that, I have them at 6-11. That's why I like this. That's why I like this 8.5.
2.5 games.
Yeah, I'm 2.5 games under on these guys.
Where's my pen?
Like that's why I said. I mean, I have a scenario. Like I mean, like Ben said, we're on the Lions. Like they lose their first 2 games, they could go 0-4.
Yeah, they will.
And then
if we're taking the under, they are.
And then they got to go to Pitt, Cleveland. I mean, they're still without Deshaun Watson, but still, things could get dicey for the Patriots.
Yeah, that's going to be a rowdy unders game. That one right there, just a run fest.
Yeah, could get dicey for these guys.
Patriots
so I'm
under. Definitely
on that 8.5. It's probably one of my favorite plays that we've talked about so far this offseason.
I like that too.
Yeah.
You
and
like
so,
it?
Ron prefaced it, and, I'm not too far off either. Ben touched a little bit too. Fantasy, not a lot to look forward to with these guys. I do want to ask the question, though, Ben. Damian Harris or Stevenson?
Not ready to answer that, pal.
Not ready to answer that.
I'm not ready to answer that.
I know you like Damian Harris. I saw him in some of your stuff, but
I've been hearing things.
Yeah, I've been hearing things. I've been hearing that, we got to do this for the pod listeners, whoever's going to listen to this. Ramondre Stevenson, and saying he might be the little pass catching back for them now. So we'll see who fills what role.
And that Harris might be on the move as well. So
yeah, that they might want to trade him.
That's why I said we got to let it play out. But if Harris gets you know how Belichick is, bro. It takes one little thing to get in his doghouse. And it kind of sucks playing that game, bro. But if you go 0 running back, these are guys who are obviously going to be there in about the 5th round for you to make the choice. Do I want them? Do I not want them? So that is something to think about. But hopefully you're drafting closer to the start of the season, and hopefully by then this thing is kind of sorted out.
You have more information.
Know a little bit more.
Yeah, for sure. And like you said, you never know what's going to happen with the Bill Belichick running back or backfield. It's always somebody different. They still might have Rex Burkhead lurking somewhere on the depth chart. I don't know where he's at.
He was a Texan.
Ready to make a splash for them. But that's the only real question I had. Their only receiver that logged in the top 50 is Jacoby Myers, wide receiver 50. He could be their wide receiver 1, but like Ron said, they got Devontae Parker. Who knows what happens with these guys fantasy wise? But I'm not targeting anybody here.
Yeah, you will not see a Patriot player on any of the rosters of my fantasy league this year that I'm going to win.
Yo, that's nasty though. Mac Jones, QB 23, like. That fool's not even a streaming option right there, bro. That's disgusting.
Yeah, he was a one-hit wonder, solid first year, and he's gonna be major regression this year.
Two quarterback league, maybe. I don't know, but not looking good for the New England Patriots.
Roland trying to cap for him, bro. Yeah, 2 quarterback league.
Wow.
Hey, that's technically quarterback too, but anyways, let's just recap. I think can we make it a pod bet that we're all here?
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Consensus Belichick ain't shit.
All right, we're all under 8.5.
Under 8.5. And at only minus 120, those are the lines that I like to see. Me and Roland were talking about how lately the lines on sportsbooks have a little bit inflated, we feel. So when you see something like minus 120 on something you really like, you better jump on it before everybody else does, and it goes up.
Yeah, and especially because we're going to get to some plays here in a little bit. I think one of the last teams here has a lot of juice on their season total, and we'll talk about that. But let's move on to the Dolphins, a team with a lot of expectations. If you want to talk about what they did in the offseason, they were 9-8 last year, 6-3 at home, 3-5 away. They have that South Beach home field advantage. You get people there for a weekend. They're not going to be themselves Sunday morning. 4-2 against the division. They finished third. They missed the playoffs. They did make some history though. 7-game losing streak followed by a 7-game winning streak. Still missed the playoffs. I mean, that's pretty crazy. I mean, you can write them off after the 7-game losing streak, and then here they come. They relost 7 in a row. Crazy team to follow last year.
Especially with the coaching situation too.
Coaching situation. Tua is either man, is he not? That question still yet to be answered.
They were after one of the big free agent quarterbacks at one time, I believe.
Yeah,
no? Somebody was rumored to
go.
They
were going after Deshaun Watson.
And Brady.
Yeah, Brady. Yeah.
So they obviously there's question marks surrounding Tua. He's obviously not penciled in as their guy for the future yet. They had some close games last year. They fared well. They went 4-3. And 7 of those. You look at their schedule here. It's a decent schedule. It's not the toughest. They do have a stretch of tough games here in the middle, but they do have their chances to reel off some victories here and there to win the Super Bowl plus 4,000. Another team I was surprised. A lot of these odds got worse over the offseason. You would think they made a lot of offseason additions that we'll get to, that their odds would shorten. Quite to the contrary, they're plus 450 to win the AFC East. That's good for third. Tua to win plus 5,000. Interesting one that I wanted to do here. Tyreek Hill over under 125.5 receiving yards. Minus 120 to the under. Every year that he's been healthy.
That's 1,025.
Yeah, 1,025. Yeah, my bad.
I was going to say 125. Give me the over.
My bad. Over under 1,025.5. Receiving yards. Every year that he's been healthy, he's gotten over 1,200, albeit that's been with Patrick Mahomes, and he's had Tyreek Hill. This year he has Jalen Waddle. Just real quick before we move on, you like that play to the over or under? Have you got to pick one?
I mean, I think you got to like the over, right? They went out and paid him all that money. You got a QB who's a pretty accurate short passer. You know that Tyreek is one of the better wide receivers after the catch in the league due to his speed. So I mean, I don't see why not as long as he stays healthy, right? But if he's also playing with Tua and he's running a lot of those shorter passes, a lot more over the middle routes, it could get dangerous. It could get dangerous for little Tyreek Hill in the middle with those big linebackers. So for the most part, you got to like that, especially with what you've seen him in the past. But you got to remember, this is no longer Patrick Mahomes. Is Tua that guy? Is he not? You've heard Tyreek go on the record talking about he's that guy. So we're all going to find out, boys.
Yeah, I would lean on the over 1,025.5.
Yeah.
I was surprised to see it low, but like Ben said, this is Tua. It's not Patrick Mahomes. I'm going to
and they also get an extra game, don't? Or no? Did they get an extra game this year? Or
they had an extra game last year. Yeah. I would take the under here. I don't know. I'm not sold on Tua. We'll talk about what they did here in the offseason. I want to say I like Chase Edmonds. They signed him, but this backfield is the definition of crowded. They got Chase Edmonds. They got Sony Michel. They got who's the other guy on this list? Raheem Mostert. They added.
That guy was a beast with San Francisco.
Often injured, but they did sign him, and he's expected to play a role. Teddy Bridgewater.
Damn, they got Teddy two gloves. They got Teddy two gloves. It's over. They win in everything.
They did sign a Cowboy. They got Connor Williams. They also added Cedric Wilson. So this is a team that did work in the offseason. They signed Tyreek Hill. We already talked about him. Man, this is a team, again, they spent in free agency. They got a lot of guys, a lot of well-known names around the league, spoken for playmakers. Mm-hmm. I got to ask the question, is it going to come to fruition, or are we going to be looking at a guy like Teddy Bridgewater coming in week 8 to try and salvage the season because they did spend so much in the offseason?
I'm saying it right now. Count me in. I'm on the Dolphins train this year. They're going to do well. They're going to do good. Tyreek Hill's going to go off. I'm targeting Tua in fantasy this year.
Oh my
I think with these receivers that he has, he's going to go off this year. Now, am I targeting him like early? No, but if he's there, he's on my radar for sure, and I want him on my team if he's there at the right spot. I think he goes off, bro, and I'm high on the Dolphins this year.
Well, hey, I just want to say, like, I brought up who was the quarterback that you liked that was ranked right next to Carr?
Kirk Cousins. The hills that he's fucking dying on. He's gonna live. It's a quick death, Ron. The hills are dying on.
Tua is ranked right next to Carr and Kirk Cousins.
What do you think? I thought, bro.
Bro. This is ridiculous, dog. Roland, I know you're out, bro. If you're out on Tyreek, if you're on the Tyreek under, I know there's no way in hell you're believing in Tua, because I'm not either.
I'm not. I don't think they're gonna let him sling it enough for there to be enough volume. We talk about Jalen Waddle. He himself last year in this offense already had like over 130 targets. He broke the rookie catch record. So he already has rapport with Tua. I think it's going to be a battle for targets. Although, I mean, Tyreek is Tyreek. I don't have enough faith in Tua to get it done. So, and Ron, back to you though.
That new coach, Mike McDaniel.
We didn't even talk about it. Mike McDaniel, the head coach, former OC for the 49ers. He likes himself some Yeezys. But Ron, you're in on the Dolphins. I want to go back over here. Are you willing to take anything on this board here? I'm going to tell you I'm not. If anything, I maybe like the under at over
to make the playoffs
under 9. Okay, you like to make the
playoffs at plus 140. I like that.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
Yeah, again, that's a line that is easy to take when you see that line there. It's just that perfect line, bro. Anytime you see plus 140 or something like that, you're on it, man. You're on it.
So let me ask you this though. I want to look at the schedule here. We have the Patriots. We have the Patriots. We have the Jets. We have the Bears. That's a potential 3-0 to start.
No, it's Patriots, Ravens, Bills, Bengals.
Oh, my bad. I read that wrong.
Yeah. So actually,
it's a tough start.
Yeah, it's a very tough start. But then after the Steelers game, we're high on the Steelers. You get the Lions, Bears, and Browns, and then you go into your bye week and get to rest and come back and face the Texans. So I think that as far as their win total, 9 would maybe be the ceiling because they're playing the Bills twice alone and the Bengals, as well. So Green Bay's in there, so we're high on the
We're
Steelers.
gonna find out a lot about Tua, dog. They got some
early
stretches.
So
that Ravens, Bills, and Bengals stretch to start, and then the Niners, Chargers, Bills, and Packers. Oh
yeah, I would say after looking at the schedule, I might have to backtrack here.
Ron backpedaling 3 minutes later.
Never. I'm riding with Tua and I'm riding with the squad, bro. They're gonna be an explosive. They're gonna be an explosive offense. This is somebody who I would target. You said the Bills might be the highest scoring offense. Maybe this is an offense you can target for most points in the year or something like that. Just because I think they have the potential to be a very explosive offense.
All right, so Ron,
overs, maybe some team total overs. They're not getting dubs, but they're still hitting 27, 28, 30 points, a week, something like that.
All right, well, I'm gonna hold you to make the playoff play just for the sake of the pod.
Yeah, hell yeah.
We moved on from the slide, but was there anything that you liked on the Dolphins?
No, I think that we just need to watch and see. I mean, new head coach, a lot of question marks about Tua. All the weapons, I think this is a make or break year for Tua. I don't know when that they have to sign his extension or when that comes into play, but it's got to be here pretty soon. And with all these weapons that they have, I mean, you got Waddle. He had a good rapport with him. Now you got Hill. You brought in running backs. Plus, you still had – what was that running back role that they had last year that would have his little stretches? Miles Gaskins, baby.
Yeah, I didn't even mention him. He's still in the mix.
Kellen Balaj is still in the mix as well. Like, they have a very crowded backfield.
Sony Michel not listed there.
Yeah.
Mike Gesicki, too, wasn't a bad – he had some games where he kind of had –
Bro, there's no excuse, Ron. That's what I'm getting to. There's no excuse. It's make or break for Tua. We're going to find out a lot about the coach as well. Maybe he is – those teams like to sign the next young – game-changing, mastermind offensive coach. He comes under the Shanahan tree. We know Shanahan likes to run some pretty simple stuff and get easy plays for his offenses. I mean, shit, look at how far Jimmy Garoppolo got them. You know what I mean?
And Shanahan's a big proponent of getting the ball in your playmakers' hands.
Yeah,
no matter
they got the playmakers.
Yeah,
they would. Doesn't he like to run like that up-tempo, fast-paced offense?
Yeah, he'll switch it up, but he is an up-tempo guy. But the thing that I like the most, like I just said, is he finds a way to get the ball in the hands of his playmakers, like Kittle and Deebo Samuel last year. And that's what I wanted to bring up right now here in fantasy. We're talking about it. We got all these guys listed. You look at the rankings, and it brings up a lot of questions. The first one I want to ask, I already kind of led you guys to see where I'm at on him, but Tyreek Hill versus Jalen Waddle. Who are you spending the draft capital on? Because I know we all play in PPR leagues. We're all going to be looking at these guys in the draft. Are you looking to spend on one of these guys?
It's crazy to see Tyreek Hill, not as one of the top 3 wide receivers in fantasy, but that's the step back that, obviously everybody's expecting with going from Mahomes to Tua. Honestly, if you're at the front of drafts, like the first 3 picks, Tyreek Hill is an option for you, coming back, because he's going at the back end of the second round or, one of the first 2 picks of the third round. So if you go and get, your workhorse running back with one of your first 3 picks, Tyreek Hill could be coming around as your wide receiver 1 option. And I think that's where you want to draft him. You know what I mean? I think that's the safe spot right there at the turn where you can get yourself a Tyreek Hill and maybe your other running back or somebody. But I like Tyreek Hill at the end of the second round or early third round. Definitely. Jalen Waddle, I think that draft capital is way too high. I think it's way too high, and I think that's based off all the receptions from last season. But we got to factor in that now, he's not going to be the number 1, which he might have been last year, considered as far as many targets as he got. Tyreek Hill is going to be getting a lot of those looks now. So, like you said, you expect that wide receiver battle. Tyreek Hill, we know what we got from him, bro. They can give it to him. If it's got the ball in your best playmaker's hands, we might see some reverses. We might see Tyreek Hill getting the ball in different ways, So
Yeah, true.
I like Tyreek Hill at the end of the second or early third round if I'm drafting there.
What about you, Ron?
Nah, man, give me Jalen Waddle. Just because the rapport is already there. So I would wait, and I would if Waddle's there, I would get him. Because, like I said, the rapport is already there, and Tyreek Hill is going to get a lot of attention. A lot of defenses are going to – I mean, we saw it in KC. He would have to have those crazy, 60-yarders, 70-yarders. I mean, he had a lot of volume, yeah, but, I mean, with Tua, it's going to be Tua. The attention is going to be there on him, and Waddle's going to be open, and Tua's going to see a recognizable receiver, somebody who he's already, been with for a couple years. It's going to be his blanket, so I would get Waddle instead of Hill, my opinion.
Ron, I was thinking kind of the same thing as you as far as I think Tyreek Hill, again, he's going to be used as a guy to take the top off the defense. But I do agree with Ben, too. He's such a versatile offensive player that they're going to get him the ball. They're going to find ways to get him the ball in the open.
But if you're counting on reverses, like Ben said,
I'm saying not necessarily like Debo role, bro, but they can get him the ball in some different ways.
They'll find the way to get him the ball different ways for sure. But I do like Jalen Waddle, though. If you can get him a little bit later, I don't think you're saving too much because of the way wide receivers go. Yeah. They're going to start just falling off the board. So you might see Hill and Waddle go in the same round just because of the way things work.
And I just believe in their offense too. Whenever it's a high-powered offense like that, I mean, your wide receiver 2 holds more value to me than somebody who's the team that runs the ball.
And speaking of receivers, and when we're drafting receiver early, we're more than likely passing on running backs. And the Dolphins have some interesting names. Let's just say we don't draft any Dolphins wide receivers. Chase Edmonds has been a really popular name. He was a really explosive player for the Cardinals when he was healthy and when he had a hold of the backfield there in Arizona. Now he gets his chance in Miami, but it is a super crowded backfield. Are you willing to spend and take a chance on Chase Edmonds and like maybe what would it be, the 5th or 6th round?
Negative, staying away from Dolphins running backs.
I think if I go 0 RB, I think that still, if that's going to be one of your first choices at running back in about the late 4th or early 5th round, that's when you're taking your first back. I don't know if you want it to be a guy like Chase Edmonds that is in that crowded of a backfield where it might have to sort itself out. I think in the 5th round, you want to draft your no doubt starting running back, whether it be for a crappy team. You want the guy that has the role. So for where he's being drafted, like Ron said, I might not be picking him because I want to see it get sorted out first. If I'm wasting a 5th round pick on an RB1 for my team at that point, if I'm going 0 running back, I think that I'll wait.
Yeah,
and about that strategy too, I've been seeing a lot of guys doing the stacking wide receivers early. It's becoming something that's
embraced.
A little bit of a topic that's kind of
switch, cuz switch is happening.
Yeah, but like nobody's really talking about it. It's like, but it's finally getting out there. Like just stack your wide receivers. So that's a good point that you made because that's currently happening in this year's fantasy, drafts, and it's just a wave.
Yep.
Yeah, like would you rather have a guy like Chase Edmonds or a guy like Kareem Hunt?
Yeah.
Shoot, well, if Kareem Hunt is happy
with the holdout, that's a pretty bad example,
Browns,
right?
But if all things equal, though, like if that's not there, I'd probably take Kareem Hunt for sure in his role.
Yeah,
because he has a defined role, and I agree with you because there's so much going on in this backfield, and I mean, Mike McDaniel, whether it was him or Shanahan that wanted to have Debo back there. He comes from a place where they use a lot of running backs, and he brought over his boy Raheem Mostert, who's ranked right there. I accidentally put him as a wide receiver, but he's running back 45. You could see him having a role, and then I don't know. There's just so much going on.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in that backfield. To be honest, it was kind of like last year's backfield, Roland. You couldn't figure out if it was going to be Gaskins or somebody else. Like it was annoying.
And you want to like Edmonds because he's an explosive athlete, and he's a monster, really, when you think about it. But It's just going to be too crowded, maybe. Anybody spending on Jaceki? He's a tight end 1, tight end 12.
I
Nah.
think a good punt option. I wouldn't mind. He's kind of like in that Irv Smith, super athletic.
Scores
You know,
touchdowns.
if they get the ball, they can definitely take it to the house. So if I'm punting tight end, I don't mind a guy like Mike Gesicki. What I will say is I wanted to ask y'all, Tyreek Hill or Mike Evans? They're both there. Who are y'all taking?
Shit, Mike Evans has a little bit of a hammy right now, but if he's healthy, give me Mike Evans, man. He's still a touchdown monster. Godwin might not be himself this year.
Bro.
He's going to be a target monster, and I mean Mike Evans has done nothing but produce since he's come in the league. So give me Mike Evans.
And
I'm gonna go with Tyreek, bro. Because Mike
Ron,
Evans
the fact that you're saying it's tough, Ron, like this was a no-brainer, but this is where we're at now with Tyreek Hill, and it trips me out, bro.
No, I mean, and it's just a good comparison in general, because what I was gonna say was Mike Evans is that guy who's like 2 catches, 2 yards, 2 TDs, and he would get your points like that. He really wasn't that consistent guy that Brady looks for. He looks his way, but there was some games where he was getting 4 targets, 5 targets, 6. Tyreek Hill, the volume's gonna be there. I think in that offense, he's going to get at least 7 to 8 looks, if not double-digit looks every single game. So going off looks and opportunities is just why I would take Hill over somebody like Evans, who's more of a goal line kind of guy.
All right.
Fair enough. It's going to be interesting nonetheless to see what goes on in Miami. Definitely one of the more intriguing teams with everything that's gone on this offseason. Highlighted by their signing of Tyreek Hill.
I think they're just going to be like a fun, exciting team, to just watch. Like if you were in MIA and you're living there right now and you're like, hey, we're going to see the Dolphins this weekend because it's going to go off. Like, it's going to be like a party. It's going to be like a badass vibe, man.
Hopefully they're competitive because they do have a lot of exciting names on that roster and they're South Beach, like Ron said. So we'll see.
Can we leave the Dolphins on one more? Would you rather have this guy or this guy?
Yeah, go for it.
For two Cowboys fans, Tyreek or CeeDee Lamb?
Oh my God,
CeeDee Lamb.
Oh, come on.
Hey, I'm on board with that one too. Tyreek or CeeDee Lamb. And you're going to have that choice. I think you're going to be able to make that choice if you're drafting at the back end of the second round.
Would you take Stephon Diggs or Tyreek Hill?
I would take Stephon Diggs for sure. Yeah, I would take Diggs.
Yeah, all right. Same here.
All
right. Well, let's move on. Ron is he's rocking with the Dolphins this year. We like some other players in fantasy, but ultimately
nothing of a consensus.
Yeah, nothing consensus here, but definitely a lot to look forward to for this team. And they started with a bang week 1. I just want to go back real quick with the Patriots, so we'll see what they're about real quick. Let's go on to the Jets. That team with the dog in them, or at least a quarterback with the dog in him. The 2021 record: 4-13, 3-6 at home, 1-7 on the road. Got swept by the division. They had close games though. They had 9 close games, 1 score or less. They went 4-5 in those games. So those 4 wins all came in close games there at the end of the game, close heroics. But anyways, you look at their schedule up here. It's okay. I think it's one of the weaker schedules in their division, but they still do have some tough stretches like everybody else, paired up with the AFC North, and it looks like the NFC North. So some tough games there. I mentioned it earlier. There is some love for the season total on the Jets this year. I don't know where it comes from.
I was just thinking
that, dog. I don't know where it comes from. Over under 5.5 is juiced to -160.
I would take that easy.
You have them at 6 in some places. To win the AFC East plus 2,800. Didn't even mention the AFC Championship and the Super Bowl odds because those are very long odds. To make the playoffs plus 700, yes. No, -1,000. Zach Wilson plus 13,000 for MVP, same as the Super Bowl odds. And Breece Hall to win Rookie of the Year on the offensive side of the ball, plus 800. That's the shortest odds on the board right now on DraftKings. Breece Hall, running back out of Iowa State, do it all. They did just spend some pretty high draft capital on Michael Carter, the running back from North Carolina. So pretty interesting to see Brees Hall with so much love here in the preseason. Just a quick thing I wanted to point out. Look at their offseason additions. They did make a splash in the draft. They got Sauce Gardner, Ahmad Gardner, the cornerback out of Cincinnati, potentially the next shutdown corner. He's a 6'4", the new prototype cornerback that everybody likes to see. Another first-round draft pick, Garrett Wilson, the highly touted receiver from Ohio State. And then their third first-round draft pick, Jermaine Johnson, defensive end. He was the guy who was supposed to go a lot earlier. I saw his odds were like in the 9s and 10s, drops all the way to 26. They scoop him up. This team was busy. They added to the offensive line, although they did lose Mekhi Becton in practice towards ACL. That's the left tackle for Zach Wilson. And they stole Greg the Leg from the Cowboys. We've seen the Cowboys on this list. It's going to be real bad when we talk about them, when we talk about their departures, because they've shown up on everybody's additions over here. Anyways, the Jets, they did lose a safety, Marcus Mays, but they did replace him with Jordan Whitehead. And we already talked about Jamison Crowder, and they also lost Keelan Cole. Go back to their season totals, their odds here for the playoffs and whatnot. Ron, you smiled when you saw the 5.5. You're taking that?
If Zach Wilson is healthy, yes. But without Zach Wilson,
they already had a scare. They already had a scare. He should be healthy. So no faith in Joe Flacco.
Nah, no faith in Joe Flacco, man.
How, bro? How do they get over? I mean, I don't see it. I think that they could go into the bye week winless, to be honest with you.
They get the Browns without Deshaun Watson. Maybe they get a win there.
And that's at the beginning of the year. That they might not even have, Ron's boy for that game.
Yeah.
So if that's Joe Flacco going against Jacoby Brissett, give me the Browns every day of the week.
I think they got 2 or 3 winnable games in their first 9. The Browns, Dolphins, and Patriots.
And Roland, they got swept by the division. So we're saying they're winnable games, but they did come out getting swept by the division.
But I think they beat the Patriots twice.
Nah, there's no way in hell.
They'll split with the Patriots this year. I think they'll beat them once because I'm not high on the Patriots either.
I'm willing to say that. I'm willing to say
they'll split with the Patriots. They won't go winless. But they're not going to beat the Bills, and they shouldn't beat the Dolphins. But you don't know what's going to happen.
Okay. So look,
bro, look at these teams.
If they split with the Bills and they split with the Dolphins,
they're not splitting with the fucking Bills, Ron.
I mean, I'm sorry.
My
bad. If they split with the Patriots, if they split with the Patriots, like you guys said, and they split with the Dolphins, it's already 2 wins.
Okay,
but that's a lot already. They got swept by the division.
So that means
them a lot, dog.
That means they would have to beat the Steelers.
And that's a game that the Steelers need. That's a team that they have to beat. Same for the Dolphins. Like, you play the Jets, this is a game you absolutely need.
But
you cannot botch this.
But here's the case. Here's the case for the Jets. Let's just say they beat the Browns without Deshaun Watson. Let's say they take care of business of the Dolphins. They they take the one at home there in week 5. That's 2. They win their home game against the Patriots. A little Halloween. 3 wins. They go to the bye. They take care of the Bears at home. That's 4. They lose to the Vikings and Bills.
Yeah.
And then this is where it gets crazy.
Yeah, look at these 3 games in a row they have.
They got the
Lions.
What do you mean?
The Lions team total. We're on
I know we are. I know,
but just look at Roland's going to say, look at the games that they have.
They got the Lions, the Jags, the Seahawks.
Those 3 games.
And they need to win 2 to cash.
They would need to win 2 to cash.
Give me the under.
Gee.
Wow. Give me the under. They're not winning that game against the Browns without Zach, whatever.
Zach Wilson.
Yeah, they got to win 2 of the last 4 to cash.
And that's best case scenario you gave them, splitting with the 2 other division foes. I don't like it, bro.
Hey, they had a 7-game winning streak last year, pal.
This reminds me of the hype that the Jags had with Urban Meyer and how their season win total got to like 6.5, 7, and they went way under. The Jets are going to be drafting in the top 5 again next year.
You were all up on Tyreek Hill right now, and you can't give him 6 wins?
Tyreek Hill's not on the Jets.
Oh, yeah, my bad. Come on, though.
Yeah, it is your bad. He said he did this to the Jets when the Jets wanted him. He said, hell no.
Diego's distracting me, bro.
Hey, It's not going to be a good season. For
It is compelling because there's a case that they could have, 4 games to get, they just got to go 2-2 to get to the over. But if we're on the Lions, they're not going to get it done there. And then the Jags should be a little, they should be a little improved
Trevor
this
Lawrence,
year.
yeah.
So we'll see. If I were going to take anything, I would go on the under because I do like that plus money. You're asking this team to get 6 wins.
Laying juice with the Jets is crazy, dog.
So we'll see. That'll be a little intrapod bet. Ron's a little bit higher on the
Ron,
Jets.
this juice is not worth the squeeze, Ron. This is expired OJ, cuz you don't want to squeeze this right
We'll
here.
see.
And we have Diego here. Thank you for watching. He's saying that they don't win those 50-50 games in the beginning of the season. This can be an easy bet to the under. And it's very true. All those games that we were giving them could go easily the other way. So
Ron loves shitty team, not likes Diego.
Dude, that's because I'm super high on the Steelers this year. That's very unfair.
That's
very telling.
To his point. All right, well, I think me and Ben are on the under here. Ron, are you over? Is this a play?
I'm on the MILF Hunter, dog. No, it's not an official play. I'm just saying I think they win more than 5.5 games. But I'm not putting money on them.
Fair enough. I would go and put a little bit of lunch money on that under 5.5. One thing's for certain. Well, actually, no. There is some intrigue here in their fantasy team. I was going to say one thing's for certain. I'm not taking anybody here, but they do have some interesting names this year. A lot of guys that people have hope for. The one that I want to bring up first is Elijah Moore. He was a popular name last year, the receiver out of Ole Miss, I want to say. Dynamic receiver, can do it all. He's a burner, a good route runner. Wide receiver 35. Ben, is this a guy that you're targeting? Is this a guy you want a piece of?
It's not, Roland. I'm going to be honest. I'm not targeting any of their receivers. I do have some interest in their running back room. A lot of hype around Breece Hall. Iowa State, right? So he was back there with Brock Purdy. A lot of highlight reel plays for him as well. I'm not so interested in the receivers, Roland. I am interested in the running back room. But I understand, there's people that believe in Zach Wilson. I know coming out of BYU, I was a big believer in him. In the NFL, I'm not seeing it, Roland. I'm not seeing it. I'm seeing another Sam Darnold in the making.
Oh.
And it's sad that it's the same team. But that's what I'm seeing with this quarterback. So give me the running backs, and I'll lay off the receivers with the Jets.
I'm off on him too, just because of the injury. It's only his second year. I was really high on him after last year. He didn't have the greatest season, but you could see that the ceiling was there for him. Poor guy, he already gets hurt, so this is kind of why I'm off him on fantasy. But I might target one of their running backs just because I think they're going to be behind in a lot of games, and they have running backs who are more, scat back style. They don't really have that third, every down back. So this is somebody who can, a team that likes to dink and dunk toward the end of the game or something like that. So maybe one of their running backs is nice to target off of, a flex or something.
I do want to believe in Elijah Moore. I don't know if I'll find myself willing to actually spend the draft capital on him, depending on where he's going in drafts. But I want to believe in him. He's a good player, but I'm not a believer in Zach Wilson. Joe Flacco might be there. Gonna be off on him. The running back room confuses me because, like I said, they just spent a high draft pick on Michael Carter. I don't know if Breece Hall is just gonna run away with the job for me to maybe have him as a running zero running back target to be my first running back draft pick. So a lot of interesting plays here. If you're thinking about drafting a Jets player, definitely going to be a team that we talk about a lot just because of that win total and people's expectations for this team. Anything else you guys want to add on the Jets before we wrap things up?
Oh man, I like how Diego through talking the Jets, schedule and total out says if you see 6, there's no way they get to 7. So I agree. I think at worst you're looking at a push like that. But that plus money on the under 5.5 is there as well. And honestly, if this team's not playing good, you could also see them tanking at the end of the year for that top pick. So all of that stuff is in play. You never just playing the over with the Jets. I mean, maybe game overs once Zach Wilson comes back and he's throwing picks and airing it out. But a team total over, Nah, bro. Not with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah, I'm gonna take that under. I'm actually looking for it right now to see what the number is.
You're gonna get 6, Roman.
What if it
No,
went to like 4.5 or 5 with Wilson?
Nah,
It's
no
at
chance.
6.
It is.
I'm gonna take the under.
Oh, it's at 6?
Yeah.
Okay. If it's at 6, then under for sure.
Yeah, I'm
All
locked
right.
in already. So
Yeah, so I'm probably not going to be drafting any Jets. We're talking about their season total under. Not too much faith on them. Just to recap real quick and to wrap things up. Before the night, we are taking the Patriots under 8.5. That's a play everybody liked. Did you have anything else written down, Ron?
No, as far as consensus, that's the only thing that we all clearly agreed on.
That's the only play that we're adding. Like I talked about at the top of the pod, we are going to have a little bit of a top 10 list that we're going to be giving you guys. We've done that every year since we started. Always interesting to go back and look throughout the season and see where we had guys ranked. So that'll be coming soon. And thanks to everybody that's tuned in tonight. But that's about all we got for you guys. Any parting shots, you two?
Peace.
All
Those
right.
Mafia,
Laters.
baby.
Choke artists.